Starting and running a business is hard, but you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're an established business owner or thinking about starting a side hustle to earn extra income, I am here to teach you how to show up as your unfiltered self, level up your business, and thrive as a mompreneur. Let's embrace the chaos and start enjoying the journey together. I'm Amy Traw, and you're listening to the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Welcome back into the Motivated Mompreneur Podcast. Today we are talking all about writing email copy quickly. And without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest today, Megan Kachigan. She is going to be teaching us 3 easy tips to make our lives so much easier. Megan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to listen to these tips from you. So before we dive into that, tell us more about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Yes, so I am an intentional copywriter and sales strategist. I get more clicks and conversions for values-based coaches to get more aligned people filling out your programs and just like raving fans. So it sells itself because of the copy that we write. So I use my signature grow method, and we write everything from ads to emails to sales page, landing page, blogs, whatever it is, to make sure it's all coherent and aligned, and getting you towards your goal.
Absolutely beautiful, because I never realized how much creative writing plays into being a business owner, and I should have paid a whole lot more attention when I was taking those classes growing up.
And it's
But
always so much more writing than you expect
right,
that you need.
exactly. So you're here
There's
today
so
to
much.
help us with some tips for writing these emails, this copy in the emails quickly. So before we dive into that, what exactly is email copy for the mompreneur who's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. So email copy is basically what you are writing to your email list. You have a list of subscribers that you are building up, whether you have a freebie or a Facebook group, or however you're nurturing your community of people, potential prospects, things like that. So it is really great to have an email list, because then your content that you put out is going to be seen a lot more than playing the social media algorithm game. um, and it's a great way to connect with your audience, to learn more about how you can serve them better, and then just really create raving fans who are going to want and need what you have to offer them.
Yeah, which I love that, because especially the algorithm, you never know exactly how many people are actually seeing the information that you're putting out there. And that's the cool thing with the email list, is you can see who's opening it, how many people are clicking. There's so much you can get from those analytics that
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
it's one of the most often overlooked and underutilized pieces of marketing that we have, especially when we're first starting out, because usually the people on our email list have opted in some way, shape, or form. So they're sort of interested in what we have to say. So we should be spending more time nurturing them. So how
Exactly.
so I'm a huge advocate of what you do. So thank you. So how, as moms, can we write email copy more quickly? Because this seems overly complicated.
Yes, and I think we tend to overcomplicate it, and really the main thing is to let it flow. Um, so a lot of it is like, don't try and come up with like all these great grand ideas, but a lot of it is just like, think about what you are doing throughout your day. Is there a lesson that you can pull out of it? So like something that you're already doing. So a lot of time, like most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm writing my emails, talk to text on my notes app on my phone while I'm doing something else, right? Because I don't have time to sit down and write, even as a copywriter. But as a mom, like I am always writing on the go. My first draft is pretty much always talk to text. And then that way, when I do have time to sit down at my computer, then I already have a bulk of ideas there, and then I can just edit it and put it in a format where then I can now send it out. But I'm not sitting at my computer, racking my brain, staring at a blank page, thinking, what do I write?
Right,
So I'm
exactly.
writing it to go.
Yeah, because how many times, yeah, you're staring at that blank screen waiting for that wonderful idea to hit you like out of the blue. Well, why not take the things that you're already doing and use technology to your advantage? Talk to text. That's brilliant. So easy that, hey, I'm
Mhm.
giving my kiddo a bath. Oh, yeah, hey, maybe I can relate this to something in my business. And yeah, there's a lot of great lessons to be learned. So, what else can we do?
Yes. So then now that so that's a great way to like bank your ideas. So that like once you sit down, you just assemble them. And then another thing I do is I batch my writing. So like for example, with my clients, we will meet once a month and we will batch that entire month worth of emails in that one meeting so that then they don't have to think about it again. Um, and then it's also for me, I am like in the zone of writing for them, their offer, their voice. Um, and it's not like task switching. So just like from a productivity standpoint, you get in flow with it and then you go. And then also your emails are just gonna be more coherent that way because you've done it all together rather than doing it at different times and you're in like maybe a different mindset or whatever happened. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And batching tasks is something that I think a lot of times we forget to do as business owners.
Hmm.
But like you said, from a productivity standpoint, from a just a time management standpoint, like our brain can't switch tasks. We think we're these great multitaskers, we're really not.
Yeah.
And for me, that makes such a big difference in my ability to get things done too. It's like, okay, no, Tuesday afternoons are just for getting X, Y, and Z done. And when I focus on just those tasks, I feel like my brain's like more productive during that time and I actually get more
Hmm.
done in less time because it's not like, oh, okay, well I need to create the copy for this post. Now let's go into Canva and create the graphic. And so you're doing like 20 other things while you're trying to be a mom, juggle everything else going on. So I
Yep.
love that. Love
Yep.
it. And then what's tip number 3 for us?
And then last but not least, I would say always start from I have what's called a starter doc, like a starter document. So like I am never starting by looking at a blank page or typing directly into, like wherever I'm gonna post it, or into my email service provider. I start like well actually in my in my notes app really or a Google Doc where I'm typing it out. So I have a document where and this is a freebie that we're going to link in the show notes. So it like gives me ideas of hooks that I can use or like calls to action that makes sense. And it just gives me like a framework or a skeleton of how I can start it, how I can flow, and then like because the hardest part is just getting started, right? And then
Yes.
once you have that, then the rest just comes. So this is my like my swipe files, examples of posts that did really well or worked. And so I'm drawing from success to create more success rather than trying to create from nothing or trying to like wait for, the muse to show up or to be inspired, but then you just, end up going down an Instagram rabbit hole or whatever else it is. So this is a focused way to give you inspiration to see what works, to give you something on the page to start from, and then you take it from there. So it's not just to differentiate, it's not like a plug and play template. Those, in my experience, don't work. Too many people come to me saying, I tried this. I wish I hadn't. I wish I just talked to a copywriter to begin with. So, a starter document is a better way to avoid blank page, avoid writer's block, to just get you started right away. Right, like right in the name, a starter document, and then it's so much easier to go from there rather than try and create from nothing.
And yes, getting started is absolutely 100% the hardest part. I think with any task as a business owner, we
Hmm.
just get stuck. And then what you said too, the Instagram rabbit hole. You get into this point you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to go and just search for some inspiration or ideas." And then before you know it, a half hour has gone by and what have you done? You've just compared yourself to everybody else out there instead of, letting your own voice shine, your own creativity, your unique value. We've all done it. It's not
Yep.
unusual.
Yep.
So,
And it's actually worse going
yes.
down the Instagram rabbit hole because then you just walk away with imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
which is like the number one writer's block. Like that is it. Thinking you're not enough because you've just compared yourself to all these people.
Right, exactly. And I know for me, like when I start to feel in a funk, like I put those blinders on. It's like, nope, no more consumption.
Hmm.
I'm going to create more than
Hmm.
I consume. And it really does.
Yep.
It's a game changer. But what I
Hmm.
will do, have you ever done this where you actually gone into the analytics and see, okay, what posts did well? And then I'll
Hmm.
take that content. And again, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're drawing from the successes, like you said, to create
Yeah.
content. Use a post that performed really highly last month because most
Hmm.
people aren't going to remember one post you put on Instagram. And if they do, it's a great reminder because if it performed well,
Exactly.
obviously people are resonating with that message.
Mhm, mhm.
What
And you
are,
can spin it a different way or
right?
talk more about it, give more detail. There's different ways that you can draw from that and create a different post along those lines or repurpose it as an email, talk about it in a different context, different ways it showed up. But yeah, that's the way to go.
Yes, I love it. I
Use the
love
data.
it.
Don't be scared of it.
Yes, exactly. Numbers aren't scary. They're not scary.
Mhm.
What mistakes do you commonly see small business writers do when they're writing their copy and emails? You mentioned templates being one thing. What are some other common mistakes you come across with the business owners you work with?
Yeah, common mistakes. I would say trying to take the shortcut with plug and play templates. Like, yes, they're quick and easy, but they're not as always effective. Like, no one has this, like, oh, yeah, this sold out launch from like using template. Like, no, right? It comes from your passion, your divine genius, your like, you really care about putting this out in the world and speaking from that aligned place. That is where the magic really happens. Um, but I would say, yeah, not trusting your voice and your intuition enough. And then on the flip side, like you said, also not looking at the data. So it's really, I think good writing is really a blend of both, trusting yourself and your own voice and not being afraid to put that out there. And then also like the art and the science, right? So then looking at the data and like we said, seeing what works and playing off of that, creating from there, and going off of that.
Yeah, and trusting your voice, that can be hard to do at first because, like we
Yeah,
talked about, that's when that imposter syndrome can kick in. And it's scary to put your voice out there. It's scary
it is.
to, put yourself out there, but you are the differentiating piece of your business. And I think that is the most important thing that you can remember is that people want to hear from you. They're not looking
Hmm.
for, one of the 50,000 emails we get from Bed Bath and Beyond or Kohl's each day. No, they want
Yep.
to know what's your experience. How, they can tell. People can tell if you're being authentic and genuine through your writing. Would you agree?
And they're really attracted to that authenticity and being genuine. And there are people out there who like they're like, why, well, like, why not hear it from, so and so big name copywriter or, whoever big name in your industry. But like, no, people want to hear it from you, from your voice, from your perspective and understanding and experience. And like, think about like when you were in school, there's different teachers that you had, and some students like this teacher, some students like that teacher. One may not have been better or worse, but some people just relate to it differently. And so your voice and your experience matter in the way that you are saying it. And like, yeah, it's still scary to put your voice out there, but you only get better at it by using your voice. So start with what feels safe, take baby steps. Um, yeah, but keep using your voice because it matters.
It does. It does. And stop trying to be perfect. Nobody's perfect in
Yeah.
this world. Can we just like cut the whole perfectionism thing? I know so many people that
Yep.
hold themselves back and don't write at all because they're like, well, I'm not a good writer. Well, the only way you're going to get
Hmm.
better is by practicing. Do you
by
have to
doing it.
go and write, a commencement speech in every email? No, there's nothing wrong with short emails, right?
Yeah, some of them can be short and sweet. Just it's more important that they hear from you every day or regularly, consistently, than it be perfect. And I think too that like we're so worried about like grammar mistakes or spelling and like I've bought sales pages that had grammar and writing mistakes, but like the ROI was still huge because it's more of like the idea behind it, the psychology behind the copywriting rather than, the little nitpicky spelling or grammar. And like, yes, of course, we want to get that right and we should strive for that, but if if it doesn't come out perfect, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly. You're not being graded on this. It's okay. Give yourself some grace.
Exactly. Yep.
This was such a great conversation, Megan. Just such easy to implement tips and advice that we all needed to hear. Where can we learn more about you?
Yes, so I would love to connect with you on Facebook. You can find me at Megan Kachigan, or if you're like, how do I spell that? Um, my Facebook group is a great way to connect with me and find me there. You can just put in copywriting for coaches and course creators, and the free group will pop up. And when you join that, then you can find me through there and connect through there. Get on my email list and see how it's done, and get tips to see how you can do it as well.
Love that. So be sure to check out that Facebook group. And until next time, stop dreaming and start taking messy action. You've got this. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.